Hey guys, what's going on? Someone commented that they wanted me to go over my Blitz teams, so I'm going to go ahead and do that today. I don't know how well this video will do, but if it does well, I might do this like probably twice a year just to show people kind of like my roster and where they're at. But basically for Blitz, I order my teams in best to worst, and that's based off where I feel like they can win, like their win chance basically. So I know some people order it in their total team power. I do it, the reason why I do like best team to worst team is I typically, when a new character comes out or something, I typically will just blitz whatever teams that win, and then once someone loses, I stop and then move on to whatever else in my life that I'm doing and then come back and blitz again. So I would call that like lazy blitzing, I guess. Like I'm blitzing less teams, but hopefully they're winning more, I guess is what you could say. But let's get right into the teams. So first up, your best team in the game right now is Black Order. Typically, I mean, most people do know the power of Black Order, but when Ebony Maw came out, not only was he a legendary character, he allowed Thanos to become a legendary character as well, especially with Empowered Thanos. So yeah, most people just know the power of Black Order. That's a no-brainer. If you don't have Ebony Maw, you could probably throw Minerva on that team, but yeah, basically this is your best team in the game. Next up, we have Inhumans. So Inhumans are just, you know, they're a big AoE damage type team. Quake has an AoE. Crystal has 2 AoEs. Black Bolt has a huge AoE. Yo-Yo has 2 AoEs and can call assists, and then Karnak is kind of there to get rid of buffs. Yeah, Inhumans are just pretty good. Next up is X-Men. Apparently Beast is coming out, and Emma Frost. I don't really know that much about her, but I know she's been in the X-Men, and I know she's been a bad guy as well. But anyways, basically your X-Men team, there's 6 X-Men characters out right now, and that's Colossus, Phoenix, Wolverine, Cyclops, and Storm. Basically, the 3 that for sure you want to use is Colossus, Phoenix, and Cyclops, and then you can either use Wolverine, Storm, or Psylocke. Pretty much you want to be using Storm. I mean, it depends on the context, obviously, but this is the team I use, and then I threw Psylocke on my Hero Brawlers team, which is going to be disbanded. I know some people, for temporary reasons, are throwing Storm on X-Force just because she does call assists for X-Force characters. But yeah, this is pretty much, I wouldn't say this is your best X-Men team, but it's, you know, it's one of the X-Men teams, I guess you could make out of. The reason why I didn't use Psylocke on here is just because Wolverine gets a little bit of extra boost from Cyclops, and if Cyclops doesn't, I think Cyclops has something in his passive or his special or something along those lines that if he doesn't attack someone who attacks Phoenix, Wolverine will then do it. So that's kind of why I do it. And then Storm calls assist. But yeah, Colossus, Phoenix, and Cyclops are for sure who you want to have on your X-Men Blitz team. Next up, we have Aimtron. The reason why I use Aimtron is just because they win more. I'd rather have a team that wins 95% of the time than have AIM that can win and then have an Ultron team with, you know, tech villains that can win. This team just wins most of the time. That's why I have them together. Basically, those that don't know, Ultron and his passive, whenever he gets a kill, he extends buffs on villain tech, and that is all of these characters except for Graviton. So yeah, that's why I use this team. Next up is Asgardians. People know that Asgardians are just great. A lot of good synergy. So yeah, I don't really know what else to go about with when it comes to Asgardians. It's just most of the time it's no brainer. If you can like look up a tag and there's only 5 of those characters, that's who you want to use. Like for example, you could use Miss Marvel in here, but then you negate Yo-Yo's skill of whenever there's not a protector around, she always applies offense down to the opposing enemy as long as they don't have debuff immunity, I guess. So yeah, and the reason why that is if you have a protector on your team, then Yo-Yo won't do that. But yeah, for the most part, if you can look up a team and there's 5 of them, that's who you want to use. Next up is my Marauder Brotherhood team. This is kind of a weird team. I don't actually use this team because they win more often. It's just because I don't have Toad and Blob leveled up. I do have Strife leveled up, and I do have Kingpin leveled up. So if I were going to, in a perfect world, if I had all those characters leveled up, this team would be I would just do a Marauder team with Mystique, Sabretooth, Mr. Sinister, Kingpin, and Strife, and then I would have a Brotherhood team of Magneto, Juggernaut, Pyro, Toad, and Blob. But again, I don't have Totem Blob leveled up, and I like these two get benefits from Mr. Sinister and from Magneto. That's why Pyro's not in here, and my Juggernaut's gear 13. So that's what I do. Next up, we have our Spider-Verse Heroes Symbiote team. This team is probably going to be broken up due to the Young Avengers / they really should be called the Champions. But yeah, basically when I do split up this team, I'm going to move Psylocke because this team does not have anyone that can remove debuffs, and Psylocke will do that for them. And I'll be taking Psylocke off my Hero Brawlers team and putting her in on here. I'll keep Spider-Man around, I guess. I don't know what else to do with him. And the Symbiotes kind of speak for themselves. They have a really good synergy, but yeah, this team probably wins in Blitz half the time, I would say. Yeah, this is pretty much either my stopping point or right here is definitely my stopping point for the most part. So this team, it is a weird conglomerate of, Vision applies defense up to tech allies. So that's Korath, that's Minerva, and that's Kree Cyborg. And then you have Captain Marvel, who is a beast in herself. Kind of falling off a little bit, but yeah, this team is just a conglomerate. They win sometimes. It's not too big, but I would guess that this is about where they're at as a team. Kree are just in a really weird spot where there's so many of them and there's so many different teams you can put together, but this is just basically who I use. I also want to mention that I blitz my war teams, so these are teams that I use in war as well. And like this team I actually have on defense, so I don't actually use them on offense in war. But the reason why I blitz them is because if I don't really manually play blitz, it's mostly on auto. But if I do play it, that's a good way to kind of keep up to date with the kits and stuff and what's going on. Next up, we have Power Armor. Pretty self-explanatory. They're all made for each other. Ironheart was made to replace Vision. If you don't have Ironheart, put Vision in this team. It's really good. Next up, we have your ideal Coulson Fury defense team for war. Yeah, I just blitz this team just because I want to stay up to date on their kits. Next up, we have Mercenaries. So those that don't know, Taskmaster applies has in his passive gives extra goodies to mercenary villains and to villain skill characters. I remember his when his kit was first announced, I think it had the correct text where he said he applied something. I don't remember exactly what it was, but he had buffs basically for villain skill allies. And then in game, it actually says villain skill enemies based off villain skill enemies. So when they originally did the kit announcement, I guess they had it right, but something changed in game for it. But yeah, this is probably your best mercenary team. Some people can make the claim that you can sub out Bullseye and put in Shuri. But Killmonger got a buff. Killmonger, Merc Right Guard, and Merc Lieutenant along with Taskmaster are probably really vital. And then Bullseye got a little bit of a buff when Taskmaster came out. So yeah, this is who I use. They win. It depends. It's again, once you start getting down here, you start losing a little bit more. But I have occasionally gotten to, I've ran through to Sinister Six basically a couple times. But for the most part, I just stop once a team loses because Blitz is important, but it's not gonna overtake my life. I'm not gonna let it. Next up, we have Guardians. Kind of no-brainer. If you don't use Guardians, you could use the faux BKT team, and BKT is Star-Lord, Rocket, Groot, Minerva, and Thanos. And what that team is you have Star-Lord and Thanos giving energy to Rocket and to Minerva. So Rocket's doing all your damage, and Minerva is healing up the team and making sure they do well. Again, I have my Minerva on that weird Kree team, and then I have Thanos on Black Order. If you don't have any Ebony Maw, you could just do BKT. I don't know how viable BKT is now with the teams that are out, but yeah, basically this is why I use Guardians. It's basically a way for myself to climb up to tier 8, where that's the 4 times multiplier in Blitz, but occasionally I get to them and occasionally they win, so I have them on here and I'll use them. I have them on defense and war. Next up, we have Defenders. Defenders used to be the namesake beginner characters and stuff for people. That's why they're just leveled up. If I put resources in them, why not use them? I would probably not recommend bringing your Defenders up higher than probably tier 10, level 65. Depends if you're having trouble with those city nodes at beginning of Hero 7, then maybe you want to bring them up a little bit higher. But yeah, this is pretty much they're a little bit too overpowered where I have them. Next up, we have our Ronin and Kree minion team. This team, you know, Ronin has extra buffs and stuff for Kree minions. That's why I use them. And these, I don't really know much about this team. I just put them on auto, honestly. It's just something to, you know, use to get maybe a few extra points. Next up is Sinister Six. Basically, what I'm trying to say to you guys is, if you have to use Sinister Six to unlock Invisible Woman, so if you put resources in them and they are viable, I mean, all these characters are level 60, so if they're viable, might as well blitz them and maybe get a few points. But if not, then don't use them. Like, I don't have Fantastic Four on here. That's because my Invisible Woman is gear 14 and my other Fantastic Four characters are tier 8 and tier 9, and that just is not a good match, because whoever you go up against is similar powers or is a higher power, and Invisible Woman can't clutch that by herself. But yeah, basically, like, I don't have Fantastic Four on here. They're in my back burner of characters I need to level up. But yeah, if you have a full team, then that's who I would use. But basically, yeah. So Sinister Six, I put resources in them. I'm going to use them. They have synergy together. That's pretty much it. If you see Defenders in Blitz, that's who you use them against. So yeah. And then next up, we have our weird supernatural team. I just haven't leveled up Elsa Bloodstone, but I have all these other characters leveled up. So I use Hand Sentry. Hand Sentry is one of those characters that is going to be pop in and out of teams. I know some people use him on Marauders, and he's just good with certain villains and stuff. Basically, the big thing that he does is he stealths the team. So he actually is pretty good on this team, because he will stealth the team, die off. Ghost Rider will shoot the other, you know, whenever one of his teammates die, he shoots the team, the opposing team, and then you can have Doctor Strange revive him. So yeah, that's why I use this team. This team is actually pretty decent, but Elsa Bloodstone is a way better person to have in there. I just don't have her leveled up. Next up, we have our weird hero Wakandan Brawlers team. So this team is just hero brawlers. It's not anything super special. It's going to be broken up when Champions comes out. Or the Young Avengers, sorry, when they come out. And that's, if you didn't see the recent news, basically Squirrel Girl's coming out, so she is going to bring in a tag Young Avengers, and that's going to America Chavez, Miss Marvel, and Miles. So we're gonna have 4 Young Avengers. I am probably going to go ahead and put Captain Marvel on that team, just because it is still a Heroes Brawler team, or I might use Black Panther. Wakandans are broken up because you really do want Killmonger on that Mercenary team. So, and Wakandans just really were never what they should have been, I guess, in this game. So yeah, so that's it. This is my raid team at the bottom. This is who I used to raid in U7. It's nothing special. But yeah, this is my Blitz teams. I'm trying to think. Again, Fantastic Four is missing on this list. You should be using them. I just don't have them leveled up. For those that don't know how I level up characters, is I typically try to take... I'm free to play for the most part. I've spent a little bit over... I've spent less than $15 on this game total. But basically, so when I level up characters, I try to take them up to tier 10, level 65. That way they're viable. You are better off leveling up new characters as they come out. So X-23 is coming out. It's better to level them up, because apparently they are pretty decent. Actually, really good. That's what I've been hearing. But you're better off leveling up newer teams that come out. So you are better off trying to anticipate that, you know, Young Avengers is going to be a pretty solid team. So you can use them in War, so you can use them in Blitz. But yeah, basically, if you, wherever you're at in this game, I would say try and get new characters, try and get the team around that character leveled up, because there is power creep, and the newer characters that come out, the more that past characters are going to seem like not as good, such as Wakandans. What people are upset that, you know, Killmonger got taken off the Wakandan team for Mercenary, but that's just how it is. I mean, it's fine. I think honestly, in the scheme of, I guess, Marvel, Killmonger probably fits in better with a Mercenary villain team than he does with Wakanda. But that's it. That's it for this video. Let me know if you think I should make some changes to this list. Let me know if this was interesting to you. Also, if you have any requests, if you want to see me run through, you know, Hero 7 1-3 in the city nodes, if you want to see me do certain challenges, if you want to see all that stuff, please leave it down below. I would be happy to do that. Happy to provide information for you guys. But that's going to do it for this video. On this channel, I do guides, I do news, I do orb openings, and I do whatever else I feel like. So be on the lookout for that stuff. Please subscribe, all that good stuff, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.